So hopefully St Kilda fans, you know, you're going to get lauded over the weekend and you'll love it and you enjoy it and you should, because your side was magnificent. This is a big story here on the other side of this game. There's two sides of this. So there's a football side that came here and they talk about when they have a ruthless mentality was the words that were used by Justin Longmuir after they lost to Melbourne unexpectedly at the MCG 2 weeks ago. And they're able to display it in the comfortable environment that is their home ground, in their own beds where they can go and be comfortable and they know they've got the crowd behind them. They come back here, and this was an uncomfortable game of footy because that's what St Kilda did. And Ross Lyon served up an uncomfortable style of footy, and they didn't have an appetite at all for getting dirty and getting their hands dirty and putting their head in the hole. And this is 30 years of this football club, and we keep talking about it, and we did it again tonight. We looked at the side. Yep, they got all the pieces, they got all the parcels, they got this, they got that, they got that, and they were embarrassed. And they now have to deal with this, and they're going to go back over to the West, front up to Collingwood next weekend, and look their supporters in the eye and say, hey, we've served up their 7th worst defeat since 1999 with a list that I stupidly was looking at going, are they capable of going top 4 and even further?
Well, I think you're right in that assessment. I think these types of performances can cost coaches their jobs. So that will be the question. Is this coach the right coach to lead this group forward?
Do you
because
think
on
he
paper,
is?
I think tonight displayed to me that they need something. They need something to change. Nothing changed in game. It's been a recurring story, I think, this Fremantle Football Club and the way that they play. And that was probably indicated in terms of the way the contract was set up.
I'm always loath to jump too much at one performance, but this was a really bad one.
It's 2 in 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, if I'll take you to 12 months ago, round 8, when the Lions got smashed by the Giants over there, I think it was in Canberra.
Yeah.
And Chris Fagan came out of that and said, I need to speak with my leaders because what I saw from my players today indicated that there's a disconnect and we'll have to have that conversation and see where we go from here. And he was referring to, am I the man for the job, when he was talking like that. I see something similar because there was the players were listless.
See a disconnect between coach and
all I can see, all you can see is what you see on field. You don't know about the disconnect.
I'm not looking for a headline. I'm asking.
No, that's what Chris Fagan said 12 months ago.
Do you see that with this?
What I saw from the Fremantle Football Club in terms of their players and their effort this evening, it was listless.
Which comes back to the coach.
Potentially.
Who else?
That's up to them to communicate to us to tell us what they're going to do about it. But the players and what we can see for that 4 quarters was not competitive enough.
And I would imagine this is the frustration of all those Dockers fans who are sitting at home watching this, is that they go down to Melbourne, who hadn't won a game. The coach says we need a ruthless mindset. The pressure numbers and what they showed, Bob's up for 3 quarters against Adelaide and they get a win. Now they travel over here against the St Kilda side who have had their own issues and get
pants.
1 goal at half-time.
We're talking best ever results for St Kilda and worst ever results for Fremantle.
Yeah. Well, and we saw the numbers before. The number 1 clearance differential team last year. Yeah. Across 24 rounds.
The second best differential in history.
Across 24 rounds. And they get done. They only win 22 clearances out of 75 odd tonight. Now, there's something not right. The leaders didn't step up. The leaders didn't respond. There wasn't any energy. There wasn't any intensity. There wasn't any go at any stage outside of 2 or 3 minutes when they came out after 3/4 time. They're the questions that they can only ask and answer for themselves.
Well, when you see a side and everything looks automatic,
yep.
Nothing looked automatic tonight.
It didn't resemble modern-day football.
Yeah.
The game itself didn't resemble it, but as it wore on, the method from a St Kilda point of view, it wasn't madness. It was exactly what they wanted to do. Yeah. So we get it and we go tick, tick, tick to Ross. The other side doesn't resemble tonight modern footy.
No, they've been, say, over reliance on stoppage, but they've been a gun stoppage team. And we spoke about it pre-game. You go and play a game of golf, go to the market. It's Rory McIlroy. He doesn't take his driver with him. Hey, he's not going to win, is he? He's not going to get even close. And that's what happened today. Their one wood wasn't there at all. They got absolutely smashed around the contest. Ross said to us pre-game, it starts from inside the contest. And obviously they were fantastic at that, but they completely lost their one wood on the night and they just couldn't respond.
We will dissect this performance. Every footy show on Monday, we'll have a look at it. And we'll end up naming names. I thought Alex Pearce had a crack. As a captain, I thought he had a crack. And he tried to take the game on at times. And he's not the best user, but he tried to run. He tried to drive his legs. He tried to create something from the back half. Shea Bolton walked through the whole game. He walked through the whole game. And that first centre bounce edit that you showed why he wasn't in there, because he let his player go side and 5 metres clear to take the ball inside St Kilda's forward 50. So there'll be plenty of really challenging edits for the players to look at, but the conversations of how do you get to not putting in enough or to putting in that type of effort, given we've just come off a good win, we've shown how important pressure is, and you can't go anywhere.
You're a believer in the way you finish a game continues into the next week, because they were bloody terrible last week in the last quarter against Adelaide. The Bucks did a pre-game. Their pressure dropped to 130. That flows in.
Yeah, it possibly does. I think it goes more deeper than it goes. I think it goes deeper. I don't think they believe that. For me, that's where I arrive at with Freo. I don't think they believe, the players I'm talking about, genuinely believe that they can exist in a top 4 environment week in and week out. You three have all done it. Because when you live in that environment, it is tough and it is demanding, and the standard has to be ruthless. I don't think that's a comfortable place for them to be.
Because it's game style?
Because it's an uncomfortable... Yeah, all of that. It's an uncomfortable... And
the way the coach goes
and
about it.
front up intensity week in, week out, Brownie. You know what it's like. You can have bad days, but the good sides still find a way. They front up once... They go and get their ass kicked tonight like they did 2 or 3 weeks ago. They were pathetic against Melbourne at the MCG.
Well, I did the first game against Geelong. They were embarrassing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do Fremantle games.
So it's not...
We're turning up and this is what they get served
Being
up.
good, and you three know this, being good is uncomfortable. It's not an easy... But going down the bottom where all this... not down the bottom, but the spotlight goes away. They go, OK, won't worry about them too much now.
Friday night.
Then you'll bob your head up again, and all of a sudden we go, Fremantle, have a look at them.
But you're referencing top 4 guys. They haven't played finals.
No, I know.
They've made top 8.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, they've been in existence for a long time. I'm talking about a football club mentality, not even just about tonight. Over the journey, I'm not sure they believe that they are capable, and they've played in 1 grand final in 30 years. So maybe tonight will be the night where they go back and sit down and really eyeball it.
I just hope they please don't roll out the age experience thing, because they were, they're 17th or 18th in the competition for that. I hope they don't roll any of that stuff out this week when it comes to the press conferences.
And you know Justin better than we do, Nathan. Is he capable of lifting this group up from here again?
I'll reference Chris Fagan 12 months ago.
But he's not Chris Fagan.
No. I'll reference 12 months ago, Gaz. He had that conversation. I assumed that he went and had the conversation he said he was going to have with his playing group.
Chris Fagan?
Yes, and they were able to respond. I think that's where we've reached with Fremantle. And whatever conversations take place this week will be crucial to his tenure and to the prospects of the football club, in my mind.
You think they get a natural response, though, anyway, because Collingwood, Thursday night, back at home, big club, obviously, they're going to live for that. So the true test, I don't think, will be next week. It'll be the next time they come to Melbourne.